So if someone says that gardening in Wyoming is impossible, what would you tell them, Jen?
I totally understand.
Yeah.
I think when I first came here, I was stumped in every way. I spent about 3 years trying to learn how to grow here. I'm originally from Kansas City, where you can throw a seed out the front door and it grows.
Right.
And after about 3 years of failed attempts, that was why I finally joined Master Gardeners.
What is Master Gardeners, Kelly? Is it people might have heard the term, but what does it actually mean? Can you define the term Master Gardener?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that a lot of folks do hear the term and have little or no understanding sometimes what it means. Sometimes it's an ego thing for some to feel really good about it. But the reality is Master Gardeners are a nationwide approved and sponsored organization under the university systems, especially here in Wyoming, under the University of Wyoming. And their extension offices. Master Gardeners exist to help the public learn how to grow better and do better at their work, and then educate and inform the public. Just as Jen said, there's problems, there's challenges with growing in Wyoming, but Master Gardeners, beyond anecdotal experience, offer research-based solutions and the solutions that are applicable to the local growing environment.
We're going to get into that research-based advice for gardening, which is super important. But I think isn't it also a training program as well? I think there's a 40-hour training program for volunteers. What's entailed in those 40 hours?
Yeah, so we learn everything from soil health to what types of native plants grow here, water-wise gardening, how to prune your trees, all sorts of things. So it's very comprehensive. When you're going through the course, initially it kind of feels like drinking from a fire hose. But as you get back out there and start applying it, you kind of connect all of the dots, and it's really comprehensive. Past the initial training program, we do 40 hours of volunteer service, maybe it's 25 volunteer service each year, along with continuing education to make sure that we are keeping up on the most recent research information.
So is that what brings us back to the research gardening advice? How important is that for Wyoming?
Well, I think it's critical. To echo what Jen was saying, the initial training serves as a leveling platform for anyone, regardless of previous experience. There are a lot of folklore and a lot of grandma's techniques that exist across the gardening community across the world. But the Master Gardener program serves to balance and consolidate and only employ and communicate those research-based, at the university level, techniques that enable the greatest amount of success. So regardless of previous experience, that individual that joins the Master Gardener program still has to take that initial 40 hours of training, and then the 25 hours of continuing service and continuing education throughout every year that they're a Master Gardener. So the folks that contact us, the beginner, the homeowner that wants some advice, can trust that they're getting actual advice that's research-based and has some evidence behind it to suggest the best techniques and the most sound abilities to be able to gain success in their activities.
What's an example of a old wives' tale or a grandma's advice that doesn't actually work here? Can you give us one?
I'll give you one. And Jen, perfect example. Someone sent me a YouTube video just the other day. Hey, this looks like a cool way to plant a tree. Everything about that video was wrong. Everything. And all kinds of evidence. So with regard to tree planting and planting in general, Master Gardeners rely and employ techniques that are validated by the International Society of Arboriculture, also validated by universities across the nation. So, there are those things that are on YouTube videos that someone would say, hey, here's a neat way to do it.
It doesn't work.
Be careful. Be careful going to YouTube University.
I hear that. So, so these 40 hours, is it 1 week? Is it over a quarter? What does that look like?
I know it's changed a little bit over the years. Currently, the program runs January to May. And so it's once, maybe sometimes twice a week during that time frame. And most of our programs right now are online, so they're really easy to access. People can, if they miss a class, they can just watch it later, so it's a little bit self-paced.
Thanks for watching today. These podcasts are powered by PayRock, and PayRock is a payment solutions provider. We work with any size business or nonprofit, improving those payment acceptance efficiencies while reducing those overall costs. You can get a hold of me through any one of those social media channels, or you can give me a call. Let's get back to that podcast. Because our weather here is definitely unpredictable. That's a factor, a standard factor of Wyoming, but especially these last 2 winters where we're still waiting for the winter to come. It hasn't come in two years. So does that affect, obviously it does, but how does it affect the growing season here in Wyoming? Can you do anything during the winter, Kelly?
Oh, certainly. There's neat little quips out there that say your gardening season begins in January. And the reason for that is that's when your planning starts. That's when you're backwards planning when you want to start your seeds. That's when you're collecting and organizing your plan for the upcoming year. Soil preparation is ongoing throughout the winter through the use of mulching and proper disposition of leaves and other materials in your yard, organic materials. It's a full year worth of activity. It's just about the organization that goes into having a full year plan.
Got it. And if they need those starts, I know that we're here to talk about Master Gardeners, but they could go to the Wyoming Plant Company on South Ash. Shameless plug for Kelly. But they can get everything they need there, correct?
They can, yeah.
For starts.
Sure can.
Things like that. So what is someone that's intimidated to start a garden here in Wyoming? What's one piece of advice that you could give them that say, if you do this, your first year will be successful? What would you recommend? What's an easy out of the gate?
I think simply looking at it as every year is an experiment is part of what helps. Purchasing starts rather than trying to start from seed, obviously, is a little bit easier. I think the thing that I learned here that I didn't know in Kansas City was so crucial, we just didn't have to do it as long, is the hardening off phase, which is essentially you've got starters, whether you get them from a greenhouse or whether you've started them inside yourself, taking that week to kind of take them out for 2 hours. And then the next day you take them out for 3 and the next day for 4. And so that they really get used to that shock that's going to happen in between your nice windowsill and your in-ground growing conditions, especially with our wind. And that would be the other thing that I had never needed to put a fan on my seedlings inside of my house, and it makes a difference. It helps them just get stronger before you ever put them outside.
That's great advice. I never would have thought of that. Not that I'm a master gardener by any means, but Kelly, why do you do this? Why are you involved in Master Gardeners? What does it mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. I mean, first of all, it's a passion. It's an individual hobby that I enjoy. But beyond that, it's the people. I have so much fun at our monthly meetings, talking with people, learning more about them, learning about their own gardening adventure, and seeing their joy when they're helping members of the community. It's just very, very rewarding. It's super enjoyable. And I think that just makes you sort of feel good to know that there's people out there that care.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jen? Why are you involved in this program, in this nonprofit?
Same answer. Mm-hmm. I think just having met the people that I've met through Master Gardeners, when I first came here, I didn't know anybody, and I followed my husband here for a job, and these have just become part of my family. So it's a great group.
So how many Master Gardeners are there here in Natrona County? How many have been trained, gone through this program?
Currently, we have somewhere in the 50s as far as the number of active Master Gardeners, and then somewhere about 80-something that are what we consider emeritus. So between our active and our emeritus, we have about 80 members.
Okay. And we're also going to talk about something, a big event that you have scheduled here in a few weeks from the time that we're recording this. You have a spring event. So, Kelly, can you talk to us about the spring event?
So the Master Gardener calendar is actually getting quite full. Events as we approach spring, as with the gardening season, there's a lot going on. The first one that's going to appear is the spring conference, and we're super, super excited for both the message, the theme, and the talent involved with our speakers. We think we've put together a pretty good lineup.
Why should people get excited about this, Jen, this spring conference?
You know, the The content that we have this year and the speakers that we're bringing in are really pretty fascinating. We've spent a lot of time in the past talking about, how to optimize our production, what are the tricks on when to prune and how to prune and all those sorts of things. This year, we're really focusing on what are the issues that are facing us in the future due to climate change, due to inputs, different fertilizers, what's available, what's not. The whole landscape is changing as far as how we garden. And the people that we're bringing in this year are experts in future thinking in that space. So we're really looking forward to having them here.
And that's the theme of this year. It's gardening for tomorrow.
That is correct.
So what does that mean to you, Kelly, gardening for tomorrow?
Yeah, as Jen highlighted, there's challenges that we can readily anticipate for tomorrow that are not the challenges that folks anticipated 100 years ago. Beyond some of the climate change issues, beyond, a winter like we just had where almost no precipitation at all, and extraordinarily warm and windy, urban sprawl, loss of topsoil, those considerations, those changes are dramatic. But also we're exploring how gardening as an activity or food production as a necessity can contribute to a sense of community. So it's very, very different when you start considering how urban gardens might affect both food production, food systems, and community in the future.
Interesting. There are a lot of really interesting concepts in larger cities. We see them a lot less, if not, not at all here in Casper, but they're in these larger cities. You see, shipping containers used for
Right.
gardening and have an incredibly, vast supply of vegetables in a 40-foot container. Just it's amazing what can be done through that. So is this conference, Jen, is it more for experienced gardeners, or is it for people brand new out of the gate that want to learn about gardening? Who is this for?
Both. The various aspects that we're going to talk about, everything from soil health to the benefits of having a community garden in your area, they really do apply to all of us. So I would really encourage people that are even just considering it, even if you're not gardening yet, to those that have been around for a long time. All of you are going to get something out of it.
So what are some of the topics that, off the top of your head, can you remember about that will be discussed during the conference?
Yeah, the conference will actually kick off with a keynote speaker that's going to highlight the employment of regional natives and their ability to adapt to changing climate. For example, the speaker is going to go into, the speaker is actually Scott Skogerbo, who comes to us from his present work with Colorado State University. His examination of plants that presently grow along the Mexico border that are forecast to potentially be able to live right here in Casper in the next 30, 40 years.
All right.
So, really neat aspects of considerations about the future. And then ongoing research at the university level for techniques that may enhance urban gardening as we have to focus on maybe not employing some of the ag land that we used to do in the past.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. It's always been a subject that's interested me because there's been a lot of breakthroughs and progress in aquaponics or the drip irrigation systems. You can do a lot of things in very arid, dry climates like Wyoming, and even places like you mentioned on the border, the Mexican border, where it's a lot drier and hotter than it is here. But a lot of things, and even like I mentioned about 40-foot, shipping containers, having these huge gardens that would be much more productive than a garden that's in someone's backyard. So it's impressive. It's impressive to see all of the changes that have happened.